Hello. So, this week's article is about you belong. You just may not have found your community yet. The recent calls that I've been having with people, one of the key things they were talking about is feeling like they don't belong. Like in social situations, at their job, sometimes at social gatherings, sometimes at family gatherings. Well, the family gathering, that's just kind of normal, I would tell you some of the time. But that feeling of not always belonging, not laughing at the jokes on the right timing, not always getting the jokes until a day later, not having your best responses for a day or two, that can really be a neurodiverse thing. It's not uncommon, is what I will tell you. In the ADHD dyslexia world, that's kind of a common thing. And Jamie Kern-Lima has a really nice thing that was in her Worthy book. It was actually a whole chapter, and it was called You're Just First. She actually wrote an entire poem. Google it. Go out to YouTube. You can see it. It's really nice. And I thought of that when it came to being neurodiverse and being in community, because sometimes we're just first, meaning people haven't been around somebody who's neurodiverse, or they haven't realized they're around somebody who's neurodiverse. And so it might just be a first for them. And so it's uncomfortable, and they might be uncomfortable with it. And that leaks onto us. And you know what? Maybe that's not exactly our problem. So one of the things I talk about in the article is maybe this isn't something that needs fixing about you. Maybe this isn't personal. Maybe this is somebody else is uncomfortable with the situation, and that's really not for you to fix. People get to be uncomfortable. People get to struggle. It's not your job to fix them. It's not your job to change who you are all the time. If you're just shy in social situations, if you maybe don't come up with the right things to say all the time, that's okay. Don't stop being social. Don't stop getting out into the world. Don't stop showing up for your job until it becomes hostile or something. Then yes, stop showing up for your job and take care of yourself. Figure that out. So on that theme of you're just first, some other things to consider that I had in there is, what if leadership just doesn't maybe know how to handle this in your company? Maybe it is time for you to look for a new job, but maybe it's just some education that needs to happen. Sometimes I find that people have taken it so personally that when we get down to it, it was just a matter of lack of education. And so there was some learning and growing that could transpire within the company. So understanding something simple like that. So not everything needs to be fixed. I tell a couple stories about some clients, and I did put a 5-point questionnaire in there for working through, is this something that, when it deals with social events and stuff, is this something that I need to fix and change and grow? Because that's also a thing, just as a human. You don't have to be neurodiverse to want and look to grow. That's always a great thing. I encourage that in all my life coaching. So understanding that, if this is a spot that you want to grow, then we need to explore what that might look like. And that's what those 5-point questions are about. I'll give you a couple on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being very important. How important is it to you to attend social events? I have some clients that really want to attend social events, but they feel so awkward and they get so caught up in anxiety that it's a struggle. So if we figure out that's a really important thing, okay, then we're going to move forward. Next question is, what makes it a 5 or above? Why? Why is that important to you? In exploring that, we can kind of understand a little bit more about the person and about their needs, their wants, their strengths, their weaknesses. And we always want to aim to play off their strengths. And then you have to check out the article to hear the other 5. I'm not just going to give them away. But I got a great 5-point questions you can just kind of walk through. And then it's just a matter of, there's an extra power up on this. And that is the fact that having the conversation about how a situation looks, particularly socially or possibly at work, coworkers, engagement, that kind of stuff, only having that discussion with yourself internally, not the best practice. I'm going to tell you when you can ask a trusted advisor, somebody that you value, when you can get some more feedback from them and get more discernment on the situation, get more objectivity about it, you might be surprised how it could look with a little more input from people outside of your own, the places between just your ears. So that's my strong encouragement. If you're feeling awkward in social situations, if it's feeling awkward at your job, as though just not fitting in, you could be right. You could also be just taking things really too personally. Assessing that, understanding that, knowing how best and what action steps to maybe take forward, that'll really help you out. Some of the easiest action steps are just not putting so much pressure on your darn self and just being okay with the fact that in social situations, sometimes I'm awkward. That's one of the methods that I've embraced. Sometimes in social situations, I say or do some things and I am awkward. One time, great story, it's not my article, bonus for watching the video. One time I was at a conference. I had promised that I would save seats. I knew I needed to save 5 seats, but then we added an extra person. And man, I screwed it up not once. Oh no, twice. I managed to only save the 5 because in my head, it got stuck that it was just 5. And I forgot this other person. And this other person came along and I went, oh no, I didn't save you a seat. Oh, talk about awkward and uncomfortable. I owned that 100%, and that had nothing to do with her. And I actually made sure to reach out to her post the conference. I had contact information to apologize to her and to tell her this was not you. There was nothing more you could have done. This was about me. And this was a breakdown in my own system. And I was sorry. And she really appreciated that. She goes, I was kind of wondering. And I was like, I bet I would have too. But it wasn't. It was me, not you. So it's okay to be awkward in social situations. It's okay to not always be perfect in the social environments at your workplace. But it's understanding that. That's important. So I'm JoyGenea, International Neurodiversity Coach. If you're struggling with any of these types of things, coaches can be really helpful and great advisors. Trust me. Thanks. Bye now.